Oh yeah, baby. Are you okay? Oh, he's dancing, everybody.
Come on, boy.
This is a YouTube episode for sure.
Woo!
What's going on, everybody?
Woo!
Welcome to Cannonballing Life with Derrick and Coach.
Do it,
Doing it now.
man.
This
Sorry.
is impromptu.
Yeah,
For some context, you just wrapped up 2 episodes for the Monday show.
I did.
Did a solo host.
That's why I'm fired up.
The
awake.
timeline's going to be off. This will be out after the solo goes out. But
Sure.
by the time you hear this, you should have heard a solo one, and then the next week one with a guest.
True. With a guest.
And then I was like, Coach, you got some time?
I do.
I'm like,
For you?
we got to do a show.
Always.
Simple. While you're here, we got to capitalize on this. So, and what's great is I have no idea what's coming.
Neither do I.
Well, you mentioned you came with some ideas and wrote some stuff down.
Yeah,
there.
that doesn't mean I know what's going on.
All right, well,
You're assuming too much already.
dude, let's get started.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, and I hope you all have some fun with us. So,
Yeah, man.
So what's up, man?
I'm just glad I didn't knock something over. I mean, when the dance move hits, I got to let it out. But, you know, it could be dangerous.
I didn't know what to expect. I thought you were.
I didn't know what I was doing.
I mean, is he spazzing out? Is he walking
Is this a
out on
seizure?
me?
Is this a seizure? I don't know. Yeah. Look, I've been known my whole life to shake a leg.
Shaking that leg.
I'll cut a rug. These are all things I'm doing. Dude, I didn't wear black today, so it's.
I decided
we're cool.
to wear the Coach Camp shirt today.
Do you feel stronger?
Sometimes when we have guests for your show in, I kind of like throwing your brand on too. So we're a team here.
Yeah, maybe next time I'll wear
Yeah.
SRP then.
And then had no plans for this show, like I just explained. So now here we are.
Yeah.
I mean, it is Coach Campville. We got your back
raw.
sign.
Yeah,
we got your hat. We got your
Hat's on.
shirt.
Shirt's
And then
there.
my shirt. So we are, shamelessly, unapologetically
Unapologetic.
throwing the brand out.
Well, I mean, you got to do that sometimes. That way they know where you're coming from.
So coming in today, you did want to do this. You were
I did.
We were gung ho, and you were like, "Should we do it instead of the solo episode?" And I was like, "I think the responsible decision is to
You're a very responsible person.
do a new app for the Monday show."
Yeah.
But you were geared up with some ideas. You said.
Well, it's just
So what do you got,
so much
man?
fun.
What do you got? Come on, bring it on.
I don't know. It's just, look, here's the thing. All right. So I think in every aspect of a person's life, they like the idea of just being carefree,
Yeah.
just fancy free. Is that a word?
Oops. Let me.
Is it? We doing it?
That's sort of like blissful,
Fancy
right?
free.
It's bliss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this is. This is therapeutic.
Oh, and it's so fun to watch. Not to
Full
sound-
disclosure, there's no hubris, but what I do is I will watch them back or listen to all my stuff because I want to know if I need, there's always improvements. But then I'm just like, man, I'm such an idiot. That is so fun for me to watch.
we have fun, and what I still need to work on
Yeah.
is catching your quips. And
I don't even know when they're coming.
because if I'm telling a story when it's my turn, we don't like organize turns here.
Script 3 and go.
Right.
No, not like that.
But inevitably, it becomes story from Coach,
Yep.
story from Derrick, back and forth,
Share
whatnot.
stuff.
So when I'm in my story mode, you're just punching in these little things here and there, and sometimes I miss them. And when I watch back, I'm like, dude, like, focus, man. Listen to what Coach is punching in there because it's funny, and I could rebuttal on that. It's like the growlings. What are those? Improv.
Improv, yeah.
The biggest foundation, the foundation of that is yes and. So when you punch in,
Yeah.
that's okay. I have to then yes, accept that, and then
Rebuttal.
yeah, and go back and forth, and you just kind of go with the other person, and you just try to take that ride together. So clearly, I'm not good at improv.
That's all right. We'll saddle up. We're going to do some stuff today.
All right, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is I'm sore as crap.
Oh, well, explain why.
Well, I don't know. So
is
look,
it because I just beat you up, or
Yeah.
is it that dance that you just showed?
well,
us?
I got news for you. The dance could definitely put me in a position that I'm not favorable to. That's because I could throw something at any. When you're 50 years old, by the way, I'm 50 years old. It didn't take much.
You look 49.
Thank you.
I mean, it's good. So this is amazing what you've done with yourself.
Well, it's mostly just gray for men. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, you went to the gym today?
No, well, I did. And yesterday was the first day back in the gym for a while.
Oh, so yesterday was day one.
Day one.
Day two? back-to-back days.
This morning. Well, that's the game plan. That's what we work on. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been in the gym. Been very apprehensive. I run all the time. Running's that's the thing I do. But man, after the third shoulder surgery, I just didn't want to pick up weights ever again, ever. And then watching these episodes, I'm noticing I'm looking like an old man in my arms and stuff. I'm like, man, you gotta figure out something. So I'm just doing light weights. I'm doing light weights and I grunt a lot. So
look, I've changed my camera angle so it doesn't show my stomach as much. So
that's what you got to do. Black is slimming. That's what I've been told.
That's why I wear a lot of black. Go look at my closet. It is black shirts.
I will say this for the listeners and viewers: is you said whenever I started, I have different colors and I had a black Coach Cam shirt. You gotta give me that dog.
Oh, dude, I need that one.
Yeah, so there it is. You're wearing it.
I have a gray one still too.
Yeah. Well, this shows my pit stains. So it's my wife's always like, "Why do you wear gray? You shouldn't be wearing gray because people see all this is the voice again. This is what's happening." And I'm like, I don't know. I use that antiperspirant, but it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. I can't do the antiperspirant.
A person said I should shave my underarm hair.
Oh God.
What do you think about that?
Weird. Well,
that's strange.
That's on your time.
Well,
you feel if you feel that
I'm worried about the
good,
itchiness.
Yeah, it will be. There will be an itchy phase.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm not waxing.
But I'm not
waxing.
I too have. See, there you go.
I am not waxing.
See, I now I caught that. That could have been a moment where I just shoot off to the next thing. But the waxing of your armpits is hilarious.
Should we do that on the show? I don't think that's right for it.
Man, I'm not doing it.
No, my daughter. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of her, Maddie Camp. She taught me into letting her wax my nose hair.
Oh, that's right.
And then she made
a story.
There's a TikTok on it. And then, but the thing was, so she put the sticks in the nose, but she didn't put the cup thing over the stash. And she got it deep. It was all the way. It's up. And then, so now I ain't got no hair up on my nose at all. And when she yanked it, I had 2 bald spots. I had a reverse Hitler.
So you had to shave your face.
I had to shave it at that time. Yeah,
and that went out on TikTok.
Yeah.
And you were in some serious pain.
Dude, tears flowing, bro. Tears flowing. But yeah, so sore from working out 2 days in a row and just going to take it light. I use like 10 to 15 pound weights, but I grunt like it's heavy. So when the big guys are walking by and and I'm like, and it's a 10-pound weight, they're like, I'm like, dude, you don't even know. Gravity's hitting.
They hear you in the background and say, man, that guy's
blowing it up.
He's getting it after it. And then they see you and they're like,
what's happening?
10-pound plates.
Yeah. But you haven't tried lifting this 10 pounds.
Well, speaking of exercise, I too have finally jumped into a new world, but at base level.
Okay.
Where
Jazzercise?
That too.
Okay.
But what was the Thigh Master?
Oh, dude, with Suzanne Summers.
Yes, that's it.
The squish. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I got 3 levels.
Bro.
Each have their own tension.
You're going to have such good thighs.
But no, I and my girlfriend, LaShawn, hopefully she's watching or listening. I'm begging
she's questioning your life choices.
I'm begging of her lately, as we record this, to get on this show. She wants to.
Come in.
She wants to go back to, well, no, not come in. Oh. Well, yeah, sure.
Come on in.
Come
on in, girl.
Just listen, be a fan. I was like, you got to listen to this.
And if you get that figured out, tell my wife.
So hopefully she's watching, listening to me. But we're helping each other out because we both need to get back on the health train and at the very least go for walks. And to her credit, she's really doing this to help me as well because, I fall into funks, stresses. And
we all do.
And I've been on the physical front, miserable, sitting on the dad chair at night, eating whatever food I want, and gained a lot of weight.
And drinking Frescas today.
And it's it's sugar free.
That's what I'm saying. It's
delicious.
Yeah.
And then also the physical feeds the mental and emotional, right?
Yeah. And misery loves company. So when you're struggling through the workout, you need somebody else. You want to look at them and be like, oh, good, they suffering too.
So as we record this is week 1, and we did 3 walks today. Today it was raining, so I got to use the fitness room at my apartment complex. Hit the treadmills, just walking, and then the elliptical machines.
Nice. So you're gonna be ready to do a half marathon by this weekend.
Well, it's funny you say that.
Come on.
Again, I hope she's watching this. On our walk Wednesday, yesterday, it came up where she kind of wants to, for our band, that's a whole other discussion. My girlfriend and I are in a band together.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
We were talking about maybe doing like a band thing for St. Jude, even if we just walk it.
Yeah.
Just the whole crew doing it together.
I think you should.
So then I got to thinking about, man, a 5K is what, 3 miles?
3.1.
3.1 miles.
The 0.1 is what gets you. 3 miles are easy.
I've jogged that amount plenty of times in my life. So I'm like, you know what? Let's do a 5K. I don't know when. I haven't chosen one, but maybe make a goal of doing one this year.
I'll do it with you. Let me know.
And if maybe we find one, we book it in our calendars, personal calendars.
Sure.
And then, okay, now I got a goal.
Yeah.
You know, and to drop some LBs and
don't think for a second that I'm going to be lapping you. You heard the story of the guy with kyphosis.
And I
should have a lot of strength from that.
And I told LaShawn that very story.
Yeah.
And we were walking, so I was actually able to do the real sound effects with my feet dragging.
Yeah.
So anyone that didn't listen, quick recap of what you're talking about.
Well, so they probably saw this one just recently because it hadn't come out yet while we're taping this one, but it's coming soon. But yeah. So they will have seen it.
It's the timeline thing, the podcast timeline.
Yeah, it's
we record and it goes out
continuum.
Like the distance between recording and publishing is going to be 2 to 3 weeks.
You got to hit that Erie button. What's the Erie button?
The Erie one.
That's how podcasting's done. done.
If I had my iPad,
yeah,
as I'm choking here.
Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry. I know a paramedic.
I don't have my iPad because again, this is impromptu. I have a sound in there called Great Scott. And it's Doc Harris from Back to the Future. So in my other show, when we start talking podcast timeline stuff like this, Great Scott.
Back to the Future.
I hit the sound. Don't have the sound.
It's all right. People understand. I think we pretty well knocked down. Plus, you almost choked to death doing it. So,
see, no sound.
Yeah.
The iPad is crickets. Okay. I totally derailed us. So
no, but you're going to do a 5K.
The old man. No, the old man that beat you.
Yeah. Oh.
That we got to go back to that story.
Why? I've been trying to forget about that for years.
Did you tell it? We're falling off the rails here.
It was in the episode.
Yeah, but
it's the whole episode.
You know what? We have 5 new listeners that just jumped in on this episode. So sometimes you
really want to keep. See, some things you just want to like maybe mention once, and then the therapy session needs to be over.
Well, you bring up like an inside context. So sometimes you got to re-explain some things.
I understand. All right. So basically, my first marathon, I got beat by a 275-year-old man. We looked at his birth certificate. He actually was, he was here, Revolutionary War. And he had kyphosis of the back, and he beat me.
While just dragging his feet.
26.2 miles.
And you saw him close. You jogged ahead.
I did.
Then you went back to a pace. And then he crept up on you again. That happened a second time.
That's
and
correct.
Then you finally just conceded.
When he went by, I cheered him on.
Good to go, man.
I cheered him on. I was like, good job, old fella. And oh, wow. Yeah. So I now imagine, and this may not be true. I want to believe it is. I now imagine that I'm the guy running past someone near the end, and they're looking at me like, you gotta be kidding me. And maybe down the road they're doing a podcast about, you're not gonna believe, man, this is a goofy dude, he's kind of fat and he's old, he's beat me. And I'm like, yeah, dog, I'm that guy now. Yeah. So
and he had shaved armpits. It's really weird.
So that's what made me aerodynamic. I would have never beat him otherwise.
Shave your beard next time you run. That
I have done that, but it makes my face cold and I still look fat.
Yeah.
So I try to keep the fur.
When you don't wear a hat,
what happens?
It is unsettling for me because you have I'm
pretty ugly.
No, but all I ever see you like in person.
Yeah,
you're wearing a hat, and then I'll see a picture of you on Facebook at an event.
Yeah,
and you're not wearing your Coach Camp shirt. You're wearing like a dressier shirt, no hat. I was like, who is that guy?
Yeah, and
then when you do that shaved,
it's really
startling.
Mind-boggling. Yeah, I shower in this hat and everything, so it's just.
If I was a hat person, I'd ask for one, but I look silly in hats.
Have you tried?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I used to wear a fitted baseball cap backwards back in my
hip hop days,
late 20s, early 30s when I was trying to be cool, and it fit okay. It was a Boston.
You should go with
it was a Red Sox cap.
Oh, that's ugly.
Yankees fan.
So nasty. No wonder you had to take it off. Your head was on fire.
After 2004, I just decided it was time to get a new hat.
I gotta go back to 2004. All right. I'm gonna let the listeners look that up. I'm not even gonna talk about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you should wear the kangaroo hats. You know the roo hats, the kind with the little button in the front
that you would wear in Australia.
Well, no, and it looks like a detective, like Dick Tracy.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Those are kangaroo hats?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't do those hats.
No.
I only do these hats.
I don't do any hats.
I found out though once I went to these hats later, because the fitted hats were the thing for a long time, which is your size.
Yeah.
That they had changed the name, because this used to be just a mesh hat with adjustable. It was called an adjustable mesh hat. Apparently now they're trucker hats and they're snapbacks. Whatever. Whatever.
Well, you can thank country music for that.
They call it trucker hats snapback.
And a lot of guys in Nashville that I know, the more old school the mesh is, the better.
Yeah.
And they just let it float on the top of their head.
Jeez.
It's like become a thing now with the mesh backs. So
I don't know.
Which are the hats I grew up on.
That's what I always, but I don't like it when they change the name to stuff. I'm going to keep it the same. It's kind of like Memphis State is always going to be Memphis State. We know University of Memphis.
Yeah. When did that change happen?
I don't know. And like the school I teach at, Southwest, it was known as Shelby State, and then they changed it. I mean, I'm not a conformist. I'm just going to say it. I'm not a conformist, but I am a thought leader. I found this out. So I'm going to share this with you.
All right.
Do you have time? Do you have time?
All right. Story time. The audience is probably finally saying, story, finally.
Maybe. Until I'm done, and then I'm going to be like, why?
Shut these guys
Go back
up.
to just talking about other stuff.
All right. Hit me, Coach.
All right. So do you know, you may or may not know, your daughter doesn't play sports, does she?
No.
She's not softball.
No.
Or volleyball.
No.
Those are big.
She's choir and theater.
Okay. Well, those are still very active. It takes a lot of time. But in the sports world, as you are very aware, they come in seasons.
Yes.
They come in seasons. So the season that is upon us is softball season. And I am a coach, as we always talk about. But so I coach my daughter's softball team. And so we're kicking it off. This past week was practices, and games are coming up, but who knows when we're going to have them, because there's 1,000 days of rain in front of us. So I don't know if what does it used to say? April showers bring May flowers.
Yes.
And so we're in the April shower time frame.
Yeah, the flowers are ahead.
They're going to be very plentiful of flower. But that said, I don't think I've ever shared with you my very first game that I ever coached in youth sports.
No.
Now, see, what you should know before we get there is that once I got to the end of my playing days, I actually was a player coach in an adult league out in North Carolina for a while. And eventually we were winning championships. I don't know if it was so much my coaching as it was I was just on a really good team. But thank you. Thank you. Over there. There's nothing over there. So whenever I have my son, day one, we brought him home. First thing we did, change a diaper. Second thing I did, put a baseball in his hand. And so I was like trying to teach him, you are going to know baseball. Now, me having played baseball my entire life, obsessed over baseball. I know baseball inside and out, not just the plays and stuff, but the rules. It's what I do. I used to memorize the backs of baseball cards. You ever collect cards?
Not really, no. I would put them in the spokes of my bicycle.
Wow. I wonder what kind of expensive cards you put in there.
Who knows?
You would never know.
Who knows?
Man, I've got so many
There
cards.
was one by the name of Ty Cobb, something like that. I'm just kidding.
Making me throw up in my
Do you know
mouth.
how to score baseball games
Yes,
on the scoring sheet?
Lord,
I
better.
would love to learn how to do that.
Oh, it's easy. It's nothing to it.
Because it would make me want to watch a baseball game.
Yeah, well,
Because it's long, it's hard for me to watch a game now.
well, it's attention span things. But
It is.
we use regular math, no Common Core stuff. You don't round up, so it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy, really. But
So first game, Coach.
yeah, so I'm ready to go. My son's growing up. I'm ready to get him on the field. T-ball is where we're starting. 4 years old. 4 years old.
And you're the coach?
Why would I not be?
So you just jump in. How does that work? You just apply?
Yeah, you fill out an application. I got to do a background check, make sure that you're not wanted on any warrants and stuff like that. I don't know how I passed it, but anyways,
And
yeah.
then is it pretty much automatic where, okay, now you're a coach and your son is on your team?
Well, I'll put it this way. It'd be weird if I was coaching against my son.
So they're cool with that. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how it happens. All coaching in especially rec leagues, not so much in the competitive world, 'cause some of those coaches do get paid, but in the rec leagues, it's all volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times they need volunteer dads.
They're happy to have a coach.
Right. So I sign up. I'm his coach.
How old are you?
I don't know. I don't know how old I was when I had him. I was like 27, 28.
Cool.
I was in my late 20s.
Young and dumb.
Yeah. Well, and I thought I wasn't, but maybe I was. So we have our first game coming up, and it's T-ball. Do you understand about T-ball is, here's what I got to tell you. So this is a fast story on this. T-ballers, you have the option. You could pitch it to them for 2 pitches, and then you could put it on a tee, or you could just start them out on a tee. Now I
never knew that.
Well, and sometimes it varies in the leagues. Like I was in a Dizzy Dean league and they have other stuff. So, but here's the thing. That's what the rule was in the league I was in. I knew that was the rule, and I drafted accordingly. I drafted all 4-year-olds on purpose because we had
drafted.
Well, yeah, you go to a draft. And the coaches pick the players, right?
That's still...
And you have the list and stuff. And so now I will say this before we get deeper, but when I got older, I drafted players that I knew I needed in certain positions. So like if I knew there was a good pitcher or catcher, I would draft them. I would draft according to good parents because you want good parents on your team. You don't want people that are causing problems all the time. Okay. Trust me on that one. And I chose players off of cool names. So if you had a really cool, like Scarborough, I got a Scarborough once on my team. I'm like, oh, that is an awesome name.
Scarborough, Maine.
I am going to enjoy saying his name all year. And I did. And then the last denominator, if you've hit those 3, is hot moms. So you always want some hot moms on the sidelines. We want the better moms. We did. So that's how you win. That's how you win at drafting. Well, anyways, back to where I was going with this.
So now we're talking 4-year-olds.
We're back to 4-year-olds.
The big draft.
And so you got 4, 5, and 6 in the same league. Maybe it was mostly 4 and 5. 6U happens, but in that time, I think it was 4, 5, and 6. It's gotten wider now because there's more kids in this area. But I drafted all 4-year-olds because when I was a kid, if you kept coming back to the same league in the same area, you could keep your kids. So my thought was, I'm gonna draft all these 4-year-olds. I'm gonna harness them and develop them.
Cultivate.
And by the time they are all 6, we're going to dominate the world in T-ball. That was my thought process.
Reaping what you sow, right?
As a 20-year-old, I'm like, I have projected ideas for down the road. That also meant, though, all my players...
That's good long-term goal thinking.
You're investing early for the dividends later. Now, what I didn't know was that's not how the league happened at all. You redraft every year, so I put myself in a very difficult position.
Oh, no.
I had all 4-year-olds that had no idea what they were doing. They're out there
Were the other coaches thinking you were crazy for doing that?
Well, they were looking at me like, this guy. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? I am making a dynasty. But I wasn't. And so what I had was kids, I'm trying to keep them from eating their boogers, throwing dirt clods at one another, taking a nap on the field, which is typical T-ball anyways. But I had like the youngest of the young.
Yes, literally.
Now, this is where it all comes together. So going into the season, I realized none of my kids can hit a ball being pitched to them. None of them. They're not even close. In fact, they're having a hard time swinging the bat around. This was definitely the days before kids got into competitive ball at the age of 1, which is what they do now, I think. And so that by the time they're 3, they're being, scouted by pro teams. But so this was definitely a time frame when kids were not that advanced. And so none of them could hit a ball being pitched. So we go into the first game, and I opt to put the tee on the plate for them to just take all 3 hacks off the tee.
Yeah.
And then try to figure out where first base is next. Had a young guy umping. He comes over and he grabs the tee. This is my first batter, first inning, first year coaching, first everything. I put the tee up there. He comes over and he grabs the tee off. He goes, Coach, you got to throw 2 pitches first. I said, no, I don't. That's not the rule. He goes, yes, you do. You got to throw 2 pitches first. This is the attitude he starts to develop. I'm like, well, Blue, that's what you call umpires, Blue. So I said, well, Blue, that's not true. I know the rules, and my players are going to hit off the tee because I have a very young team. And I go get the tee, and I set it back on home plate. And he comes over, and he says, Coach, I'm not telling you again. If you do that again, you're out of here. I'm like, all right, bro.
You're already in a fight with Blue.
The very first batter in my coaching career. Nice. So I go back and I grab the tee off, and he goes, you're out of here, Coach.
Are you serious?
T-ball, first one. And I said, I'll be back. So,
so what does that do? Like the parents are watching. They're
all over there like this.
Other coaches.
Yeah. So I walk over. I'm like, I'll be right back. All right. So I didn't yell. I never got crazy, but I was firm. And so I walk over to the concession stand area where the offices are, and I get the commissioner. I tell him everything, and he walks back to the field, and he calls the umpire over to the side, and he goes, hey, the coach is right. They have that option to do that if that's what they want to do.
Wonderful.
And so he's like, he looks at me, and the ump's right there in front. He goes, look, go back out there. Y'all don't have words together. There's no need for y'all to even talk. And I'm like, that's cool. So I got reinstated in the game.
He must have felt like 2 feet tall.
I wasn't trying to belittle him because he was a young guy, if at best 18.
Because as I am listening to this story, I thought maybe it was a situation where you're like, nope, not this league. Like the league was different than what you were expecting.
Yeah.
But no. And
it was real.
They're going on the same rules. So
he just didn't know. And maybe he had been umping in different leagues. I don't know. But nevertheless, my very first batter, very first inning of my very first game, I got ejected. But I got reinstated. Now, that wasn't the last time I was ejected, nor was it the last time I got reinstated. And I even have a story of once me kicking an umpire out of the game.
So how did that first kid do?
I don't remember.
Do you remember his name? You don't have to say the name.
I don't even know. I don't know. It
was a blur after that.
The truth is, in T-ball, it doesn't matter, right? So they're just trying to not kill each other. Here's how you judge a good T-ball game. Nobody died. Nobody went to the hospital.
Mission accomplished.
We make it to the finish line, and there are people still breathing. So that's it in a nutshell. I will tell other stories about the other time I was ejected, maybe, and then the time that I kicked an umpire out. We'll talk about those things.
Yeah.
But I just had to leave because softball season's upon us, and it got me to reminiscing, and I was thinking about my very first ever anything. I was actually ejected. But I came right back.
That's just a great foundation to your career. And you've coached every year since, right?
Oh,
in some form and format.
Oh, absolutely. I coached my boys all the way up and through, and then here comes my daughter, and she's up. Now this could be her last year. I don't know. We're looking at this. She might age out after this, so we might be done after this one.
Will you continue?
If I can find somebody, I'm just gonna find a random kid walking down the street. I'm just gonna be like, "Hey, kid, what's your name? Come on, let's go play ball." So I got to coach something, man. I love it.
Yeah, I would say that'd be a huge void for you.
It's in my blood.
Because I'm sure you're out there also speaking to the kids.
Oh, I am.
Just firing them up.
Making TikToks.
I mean, you can go to
all that stuff.
You bring in the fire.
I try. Yeah. It's funny because, I do the Motivate Coach Camp stuff. I've been doing it. Actually, coaching is where it originated. You got to get your team fired up.
Yeah.
And so in my daughter's years, when she was like 6, 7, 8 years old, that's when I started really trying to craft this. I did it with the boys, but then whenever she was there, I was like, man, I've been doing this for a minute. And one of my favorite moments was I got the girls together. I'm like, dude, I'm about to give them this impassioned speech. These 7-year-olds are going to charge the field. We are going to take over, dominate, baby. And so I'm bow, bow, and y'all can do this. And then this one girl, she's sitting there watching. And I'm like in the middle of my action, first of all. Bad timing, young lady. You're raising the hand. And so then I'm like, I get to the end, I'm like, yes, what you got, girl? You go get fired. She goes, Coach, did somebody bring snacks? I'm like, oh, God bless America. So I guess all I had to do after that was just be like, hey, we got snacks. Yeah! And then they charged the field. So
I played Little League.
How'd that go?
I played it was SSYAA, Sanford Springvale Youth Athletic Association.
That's a mouthful.
So there was 2 leagues, junior, senior. So 2 years in junior, 3 years in senior.
How old were you?
So I started when I was 8.
Okay.
And then after that 5 years in that league, then I went to Babe Ruth, played 3 years in the Babe Ruth League.
How old? And I mean, you just answered how old, but what positions? What I meant to say?
Oh. Well, okay. Now, here's a story.
You don't know what the positions are?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No. So, for my junior league, those 2 years, and maybe my first year in senior league, I was sometimes first base, outfield usually, right?
Yeah.
Do you got to go?
We're getting close, but go ahead. I want to hear the story.
Shoot. Oh, we'll have to continue this to another thing. Long story short.
Yeah.
Somewhere in my senior league, our catcher can't play or whatever.
Yeah.
Coach is like, who wants to catch? And I will forever regret this decision. I said, I will. And then I became a catcher, and I was not good at it.
And that was your permanent position after that?
Yes.
Did you wear a cup?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I wasn't good at it. So
cup wearing or catching?
That is awesome.
I was thinking about how that would work, but I kept putting it on the back, and everybody thought I poo-poo.
I hope I wore it correctly. Luckily, I never got tested. So
that's good. That's good. Or else you wouldn't have had to worry about the vasectomy we talked about in an earlier.
But
yes,
there's an arc to this.
Yeah.
And so fast forward, my last year in Babe Ruth, which is my last year playing.
Right.
In the last game, the coach, because by this time I'm second string catcher.
Yeah.
You know, and through Babe Ruth, some outfield here and there, but I'm not great.
Yeah.
Okay. And we could talk about my hitting another day, but
it was hit or miss.
I'm heavy. I'm not fast, you know, but he is like, dude, no, he didn't say dude.
He may have.
He was like, you're playing first
tonight,
first base. I was like, I haven't played first in years. And the first base, I almost said base player.
It's okay.
The first baseman was like, whoa. I mean, he's a starter.
Oh,
you know
what's going on here?
So I'm like, I'm in. Cool. And it became very magical, and then the magic stopped abruptly. So the magical part is, I don't know what happened. Maybe because I felt engaged and invigorated in the game.
Yeah.
I ended up hitting. I got 4 hits.
Okay.
That game. And I threw someone out at home.
Oh.
I got people out at the bag.
Dun-dun-dun.
You know, I was like having a game. There's a huge pop-up foul. I think I missed that one. That would have been heroic too.
Yeah.
I'm having the game of my
kid career.
My Babe Ruth League life.
Yeah.
For sure. The coaches are like, wow, man. Everyone's like,
scouts are like, me showed. That boy's showing up.
McCod.
Yeah.
So, and I think they still hold this tradition. The first baseman, I always want to say base player, but the first baseman in between innings rolls a grounder to
that
third.
Still happens.
They throw it back. Shortstop, second, or whatever order. So I'm doing that. So then I go second, shortstop to the third baseman. And he fires one back at me.
Uh-oh.
And I lose it in the lights. And it misses my glove and hits me square in the face and breaks my glasses. I'm wearing glasses at this time. I don't have backups, and I'm not wearing contacts or anything. And I couldn't play. So we talk about your beginnings.
Yeah.
The end of my baseball career was getting hit in the face, cut open.
And you never went back?
Breaking my glasses. It was my last year. It was the last year, last game.
That was the last game. And you were having your best game. I
was having a magical game.
Well, I guess in some ways you could say that you kept your eye on the ball.
No.
I can't turn it off. So refreshing.
Well, we got to go. I know you have to go here.
I got to go pick the daughter up. If she finds out I'm still up here having a blast and she's sitting out there in the parking lot like, where's Dad at? I was like, well, girl, you know, then sometimes things got to take priority.
You know what Dad is doing? Cannonball! All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. We should mention, as I watch this and edit and post, we should probably be somewhat business, and at the very least say, go check out motivatewithcoachcamp.com.
And Shelby Row Productions.
LLC.com.
With Derrick, Show.
And Coach Camp. So go check out our platforms, and you can find this podcast on the Motivate with Coach Camp channels every Thursday, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook. Come follow us. We have a lot of fun. So until next time.
Let's do it. Do it.
Yes.
Cannonball. Woo!